Hello and welcome to the first edition of Dicked Head, a new NFL podcast featuring Thomas Benedict, that's myself, and Austin Moorhead, my partner in crime, a.k.a. Quags.
Yeah, Quags here.
I mean, you can call me T-Money, Thomas Eggs Benedict Arnold Cruz IV. He'll probably refer to me as Dicked at some point. I'll probably refer to him as Head at some point. But in case you didn't know, Dicked Head actually stands for DIC Dictionary, so word head, because we're apparently really good with words. My favorite word happens to be serendipity. Most of you fuckers don't know what that means. What's your favorite word, Quags?
Diphthong.
Yeah.
Is CT a diphthong, or does that not count? Is it only vowels?
No, it has to be two consecutive values with sounds that go different. Like ruin. Like, I am ruining this word. Yeah.
So that's why you're able to say Dicked Head, but you can't say poem.
Poem is just, that word throws me off. I can write poetry, but I fucking can't write any poems. Regardless, my name is Thomas Benedict. My favorite sports team is the Atlanta Falcons. Greatest game was probably when we were the number one seed in 2010, and Green Bay didn't punt against us on our home field, and we lost by 17,000 points. They went on to win. Aaron Rodgers is a rock-hard dick. We all know that.
Basically, that was also one of the most impressive quarterback performances I've ever seen, though. Aaron Rodgers' game, he was putting balls exactly in the right spot.
Speaking of balls, random fact about me, I actually own a sausage restaurant. I sling sausages for a living in West Hollywood. My net worth is strictly based on how many sausages people are eating, and the majority of my business does happen to come from the high disposable income of homosexuals who live proximately. God bless the homosexuals.
Random fact about me, I've had at least 3 STDs.
I can attest to one of them because I slept with the same woman. The other two, I'm just basing off the fact that Austin randomly yells when he's in the bathroom, and so most of the time I figure that can't be like a crazy text from a crazy Tinder girl, and sometimes it's actually that his dick is burning as he's extricating his penis. Let's move on to our first segment, which is NFL Today. So it's headlines from NFL Today and what is happening. As there are basically no NFL headlines because it's only OTAs, we thought we would talk about the most worthless headline that is actually being published today. We'll start with Quags.
Riley Cooper called Michael Vick to try to reach LaShawn McCoy, of course. This is from Pro Football Talk. Literally, it's a news story about the fact that Riley Cooper called Michael Vick to get LaShawn McCoy's phone number. How is that a news story?
Well, of course it's a news story. They're trying to figure out if he's racist or not.
That's the angle they took. They're like, Riley's racist, Vick is black, McCoy is black, McCoy made those comments. There's a story here. There's not a story. There's nothing in there. Nothing in what Vick said made it a story.
We all know Chip Kelly, who leads black men around and treats them well, teaches them how to do all this sports science, take great care of their body, elongates their career, makes them look really good in his offensive system. We all know he's basically a racist at heart. He's like a slave driver trying to create the ideal slave.
Yeah, I mean, the comment from McCoy, like, I don't know. Jesus, maybe Chip did something to him, but I just thought that was like a low blow, like playing the race card like that. That's crazy.
To be honest, I have to agree. I don't think it's really a story whatsoever. But then again, this is why we're talking about the non-stories of today. My non-story of today is the fact that Jameis Winston hasn't, quote, earned the starting job. Let's talk about this. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who obviously drafted their franchise quarterback. And apparently, this is the report, Jameis Winston was interviewed and said, well, I'm still splitting first-team offense with Mike Glennon, and I haven't earned it yet. Yeah, let's just say Jameis is about as worried about losing the starting job to Mike Glennon as he is about being able to afford his next basket full of crab legs. Like, the man has millions of dollars.
I don't know, because I think Mariota's already getting the majority of the first-team reps. So that might be a story.
Right, were you just randomly sitting by the Titans sideline jacking off at Marcus Mariota because he's the best-looking Samoan you've ever seen?
Well, yeah. I mean, now I'm going to do that.
Speaking of Marcus Mariota, how in God's name is every other Samoan in the league a 300-pound lineman? And here comes this really svelte, really fast, and seemingly, also most Samoans seem to have very good dispositions, quarterback Samoan. Like, where did he come out of?
It doesn't make sense.
Like,
the Samoa cookie is also the most fattening one. So it all goes together. Samoans are supposed to be fat.
You know that the Girl Scouts were actually sued by the Samoan culture for it being culturally insensitive. So they've changed the name on a lot of the boxes to Caramel Delights. So when you get the Samoa cookie, you're actually getting an older version that has been hidden away, from all those people who are too sensitive to race. All right, on to the next section. So, because everybody's so obsessed with the draft, each week we do a different draft, completely at our own leisure. It could have nothing to do with the NFL. It could have everything to do with the NFL. But at the same time, it's just fun to draft things. And then basically we leave it up to you, the fans, to tweet us at DictHead, or you can go to our Instagram, which is at DictHead, which is basically just photos of dicks and heads. Or you can find us on Facebook at DictHead. But basically, we want you to tell us who you think won the NFL draft of the week. So for our first draft, we're going to do our favorite category, which is your NFL hot tub. Which 4 NFL players are in your hot tub? Now, the only way to do this fairly is to do a snake draft. Obviously, snake drafts are only fair if you have an even number of draft picks. So, Quags, we will give you the choice. Would you rather draft first or would you rather draft second and third? It's going to go
Second,
1,
third,
2, 2, 2, 1.
You can have first pick.
Okay. So the first pick in my NFL hot tub is the sexiest man on the planet. I'm only doing it to get to his 4 Super Bowl rings and to his Super Bowl wife, supermodel, wife, typo, or misspeak. I'm retarded. I should probably give up marijuana. Anyway, the answer is Tom Brady. Who are you going with?
That is a horrible first pick.
What are you taking?
He seems like the douchiest guy alive. I don't think he would say a single genuine thing to you in your experience with him in the hot tub.
Don't you want to know what he looks like with his shirt off? Don't you want to gaze into his beautiful eyes?
I know what he looks like with his shirt off because he is always doing GQ shoots where all he's wearing is a cowboy hat and Daisy Dukes.
Yeah, and he looks phenomenal. And also, we're all curious about how much of a salad he is. Even though his legs will be underwater, will he wear Uggs in the tub? That's what I'm really curious about.
It's the hot tub draft, not the gay hot tub draft. But fine.
Yeah, like there's no homoeroticism going on here. We're drafting shirtless physical specimens to get in a hot tub with us, where there's just going to be cum floating around.
All right, prepare to be devastated.
Fine, go ahead. Yeah. Just take Rob Gronkowski. Go ahead.
Andrew Luck and J.J. Watt. They're both supremely nice, goofy dudes off the field, and among the best at their position on the field. I mean, J.J. Watt is probably the best. Luck, you could argue, is I don't know, the second or third best or something.
Okay, look.
And it'd be great banter. They're in the same division with each other. They play opposing positions. It would just be so entertaining to see them have a conversation.
Okay, look. I'm not going to argue with the J.J. Watt pick. I'm pretty upset he was off the board. I'm feeling like the guy, last year who was drafting it at 4 and Jamal Charles got taken at 3, and you're like, God damn it, because you knew he was just going to blow up against that shitty AFC West defensive setup. But look, regardless, let's talk about Andrew Luck here. When you're in a hot tub with a bunch of dudes, what are you worried about? You're worried about pubes floating to the top of the pool. Andrew Luck has a massive neck beard. So he's going to be dropping off all sorts of neck beard into the hot tub. You're going to be looking down, thinking they're pubes, and you're going to be distracted from the overall sexiness of the experience. And yes, I use the word sexy to describe dudes in a hot tub because you think there's pubes floating in the tub.
Dude, when I was 18, I dated a 29-year-old who didn't shave her legs or her armpits. I'm cool with hair. I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she gave you one of those 3 STDs. Like, it's almost a lock.
No. She was very clean.
Okay, so if she's clean, I knew one girl you got your STD from. Where did the other 2 come from?
One, I got raped by French Gollum when I was living in China. One was unprotected butt sex with this disgusting fat girl. It was also borderline date rape. And
where you were raping her?
No, she somehow she found me at a bar when I was blacked out. I blacked out, woke up next to her.
Did she use a series of those bands that you work out with to tie you up and make you fuck her from behind? Because that would be forced raping.
Fine.
Fine. It wasn't rape.
Fine.
Exactly.
It's not rape.
Yeah.
She found me in a weak moment, and then I obliged. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's not rape.
Okay, fine. Well, back to the draft.
I don't remember the third one, but I'm pretty sure there's another one.
Well, I mean, look, we're just, at this point, how can I even believe anything you're saying when you say that you got raped when you were butt fucking another girl and there were no pulleys involved? If there were pulleys involved, maybe I'd have been convinced. But no advanced pulley system, and I'm out. All right, so he took, let's just recap real quick. I've got Brady, He's got Luck and Watt. So it's obvious we're a bunch of white dudes. I'm going to break the barrier, much like our good man Chip Kelly. I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson, who is supremely sexy, supremely confident, and if his Twitter rants...
dumb as a rock.
Yeah, and dumb as a rock, but entertaining. If his Twitter rants have been anything... If you've noticed them recently, it's that he will say anything that is on his mind, which I think is great entertainment.
Oh my God, I hate your hot tub.
My next hot tub pick is going to be something that is mostly meant to make me feel better about myself and also make sure there's plenty of beer there. I'm going to take Rex Ryan to go in the hot tub with Brady and Adrian Peterson.
I like that one.
Yeah, you hang out.
He's got cool tattoos.
Yeah, you hang out with your two antisocial, really, really talented players. We're not drafting a team here. We're drafting a hot tub.
Fine. I'm about to blow you out of the water because
Yeah.
I'm going to take Brian Cox, defensive line coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
The only bright spot in Hard Knocks last season was Brian Cox. He's an all-star. I mean, he's going to carry the hot tub, even if Luck and Watt are having an off day.
Well, basically, if you're going for entertainment value at this point, you're probably just going to have to take Pac-Man Jones. Because at least then, all the dollar bills falling down will cover Luck's beard hair / testicle hair that's risen to the surface.
Wait, do I get a second pick now, or does it go back to you?
Yeah, no, it's up to you. You get, remember, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1? Didn't think past Brian Cox.
I feel like I've got a really good vibe to the hot tub going.
Well, you've already got
like a bunch of nice dudes.
You've got a quarterback, you've got a defensive lineman, you've got somebody to coach him, but who are you throwing the ball to, right? Who is picking up the slack? Brian Cox has the cigars. J.J. Watt, I don't know, he's strong enough to lift the hot tub in case it's in a bad place. Like if it's raining, he can just move it inside. He's that strong. And then Andrew Luck is there to just, I don't know, generally solve math equations and like drop testicle hair into the hot tub. So who are you going with last?
I'd probably just take Odell Beckham Jr. I saw a picture of him recently where he was with Anna Wintour from Vogue, or I don't know how to say her name actually, and he was looking stylish. He looks like an interesting dude. I took him.
Okay.
Plus he's a stud muffin.
Yeah, it's not a bad draft pick. So I actually did a little bit of research, and I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out to the Athletic Build, which is a website. They listed the best bodies in the NFL. They had Vernon Davis at number 2, and they had LaRon Landry at number 1, who's just has, like, his biceps are bigger than his face. I'm going to go with Vernon Davis here because he's just got a fantastic body. He's a great physical specimen. And also, can he give me some insight into all the shit show that went down in the 49ers offseason?
No.
I mean,
I guarantee he has no idea what's going on. Have you seen his quotes about his usage in the offense? He doesn't even understand his own usage.
Well, the other thing about this is it's basically going to be me and Brady are the smartest people in the hot tub. Rex Ryan is somewhat far behind us. Then you have Vernon Davis and Adrian Peterson.
Oh my.
So, I mean, we're going to cover...
So you basically just declared that you're racist. Your hot tub is racist.
No, my hot tub's not racist. We're just basing this off like what they have said publicly. Who knows? Vernon Davis could be a very, very thoughtful dude. But at the least bit, I'm going to be looking at some really jacked dudes who are really good performers as well. I've got 3 Pro Bowlers in my hot tub and a guy who's managed to land, 2 head coaching jobs? What have you got?
I'm pretty sure that I can film mine and then sell the stream for like $10,000 more dollars. It'll be so entertaining.
All right, well, tweet us at DickTed about who's got a better hot tub. Thomas, or you can just call me $. I hate it, but fuck it, do it. I was on I Love New York. Shoot me in the face. Or you can tweet it.
We're cutting that out.
Or you can tweet it at Quags. But make sure you put the tweet at DickTed. That's DICTHEAD. Now we're on to our second segment, which is Quick Dicks, which means quick words, not quick dicks. I mean, this isn't West Hollywood, people. And basically, we're going to go through the NFL draft. We're going to give our favorite, least favorite, and most intriguing round 1 picks.
All right, favorite, go.
We'll start out with favorite. I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. I think he is the most dependable person who was drafted. I think there's 0 bust potential. And the Raiders, for the first time ever, picked a wide receiver not based on speed. It's probably because Al Davis is dead. Bless his heart. Rest his soul. R.I.P., et cetera, et cetera. We love you, Al. The reality is they drafted a quarterback in last year's draft, and they're actually doing something to help him out. They're doing something logical, something that's been missing from the Raiders organization for a long time. So I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. 0 bust
supposed
potential.
to be quick dicks.
Quick
Thomas.
dicks. All right.
You just rambled. I actually just stopped.
We're trying to fill up radio space at this point, all right?
No, we're not.
Oh, yeah, it's a podcast.
This is the quick part.
Okay, go.
Marcus Mariota is my favorite He has the highest. All right, Football Outsiders is a projection they call Cubase. It predicts NFL success. Mariota is the highest projection of any player since 2012, and since '95, only 6 quarterbacks have a higher projection than him.
And a racist
Phillip
head
Rivers,
coach likes him.
Carson Palmer, Donovan McNabb, Russell Wilson, RG3, and Peyton Manning. So that is good company to be in, and this projection system is pretty fucking accurate, honestly. So I love the pick.
Okay. All right, who's your least favorite?
My least favorite. This was tough because first-round draft picks are usually pretty good prospects. So I'm going to take the easy one and say Melvin Gordon because the Chargers traded up for a running back, and it seemed dumb to me. I assumed they could have gotten him just staying put.
Probably right. The Chargers also talked about trading their franchise quarterback, so apparently they were smoking too much reefer in the offseason.
Exactly.
I'm going to go Kevin White. Scouting report on him is doesn't run good routes, occasionally drops. Yeah, he's got a lot of speed. Well, the Bears have Alshon Jeffrey, who's the physical freak with a lot of speed. They also have a quarterback who's prone to throw a lot of interceptions in Jay Cutler. So having a guy who, A, doesn't have good hands, Cutler throws a fucking bullet, and B, can't run precise routes, isn't exactly going to help with A, completions, or B, making sure guys are in the right place so that he doesn't get picked off. I think it was a horrible pick. I don't understand it whatsoever. They had so many other needs, especially given their defense, which is falling off a fucking cliff. Horrible pick, Kevin White. Most intriguing pick, I mean, it's pretty obvious for me. Call me a homer. I grew up with season tickets to UGA. You actually went to UGA, but I think it's Todd Gurley. We have a running back picked in the first round again. We have a guy who is an absolute beast, combination of size and speed, but he's an injury risk. So he's one of those guys who's coming into a really tough division in the NFC West, and he could either blow up and end up being the next Adrian Peterson, who was also drafted at 7, which is too low for him, or he could be much like a lot of these other first-round draft picks who haven't really paid off in recent memory, like Trent Richardson. But I like the fact that St. Louis is trying to reverse the trend, going with what they felt was the best prospect. I'll go Todd Gurley.
So most intriguing for me is Vic Beasley. It's also a homer pick. I think he can take the Falcons' defense from horrible at pass rush to middle of the road, almost single-handedly. He had the highest Football Outsiders sack-seer projection of any pass rusher in this class. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
God, I hope he's better. The Falcons, according to FBO, had the DVOA worst defense in the NFL right here, right?
Yeah, last year.
So moving on to our next section, we call it crap. It stands for completely rational yet absurd predictions. I'm going to start out. What has been the trend in recent NFL drafts is, people at the top, what do? They draft quarterbacks because bad teams are usually in need of a quarterback. Now, if we look at history and we see how many first-round quarterbacks have been bust, I would actually like to posit a different theory about why I think it might be better to trade that pick, even if you don't have a franchise quarterback, and wait to take a guy lower down in the draft. Now, I know it's not a good strategy to say that you can land potentially a Russell Wilson or a Tom Brady later in the draft, but the reality is, unless you're 100% certain, unless it's Andrew Luck, why are you taking a Bortles or an RG3 that early when you can trade it away to get a bunch of picks? Look at how quickly St. Louis improved their roster when they traded away for RG3. Look at what Seattle's been able to do, drafting the third-round pick and then having extra cap space to sign other sort of guys. When you draft a quarterback later, you don't have to put as much money towards him. You can afford to build the rest of your team. You can probably recruit more draft picks to get more talent around him. Quarterback is a crapshoot anyway.
Examples like Chiefs under Alex Smith or the 49ers under Alex Smith. If you have a game manager and an excellent team around them, you can make the playoffs.
Yeah. Now, if it's a slam dunk and you can get an Andrew Luck, that's fine. But how many guys come out that we know? Oh, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, John Elway. Like, so many of the best quarterbacks in our league weren't drafted that highly. Drew Brees was drafted at the end of the round. Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round. Like, come on. Trade picks, build up a talented team.
GMs are actually, almost all of them are closet homosexuals. This is a little known fact. And what they look at is they look at these big, studly, blonde-haired quarterbacks like Bortles with big arms, and they want to be close to them because they want to have sex with them, and that's why they draft them. And they hate the idea of looking at stats like completion percentage or honestly, how much of your team's offense did you carry? How much of it was passing versus running? Like things that might actually tell you how good a quarterback is. They don't want to look at that stuff.
I happen to agree, and I would just say that, if for some reason Rex Ryan pulled a hammy on the way to the hot tub, I've got Bortles sitting by just to jump in. Hot dude, blonde guy. He's jumping in right. All right, what's your crap? Your completely rational yet absurd prediction.
The Titans are going to win the AFC South playoffs.
Okay.
And this piggybacks.
I'm interested.
This piggybacks a little.
That's like people picking the Bucks to win the NFC South last year. Then they went 2-14.
That's a more like.
Oh, they've got great defensive line depth. Oh, let me come on the page so I can't even tell who my quarterback is.
Yeah, but they didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, Josh, give me a break. Josh McCown, everyone in the universe besides Lovie Smith knew that streak from Josh McCown was like an outlier. We had so much data on Josh McCown for like 7 years before that. We knew what he was. Anyways, Mariota, I just told you he's one of the best quarterback prospects. Since he's one of the top 7 QB prospects since '95.
Mm-hmm.
Business projection system.
As was RG3. Continue.
RG3 was awesome his rookie season.
Yep.
In addition,
and he was a running quarterback like Mariota, and then he tore his knee, and then what happened to him?
Mariota's super accurate.
Yep.
Wiz has said he'll adjust to Mariota, which was one big issue because Wiz is kind of an idiot.
Didn't RG3 in his rookie season lead the league in completion percentage?
I think I'm almost positive he led in yards per attempt. I don't know if he also led in completion percentage. That's totally insane.
Okay.
But yeah, he was extremely accurate and he was completing long passes. So they've got a quarterback. They've already invested on offensive line. They have a solid offensive line. They drafted another running back who can take some pressure off of him. And they have some decent receivers. Like Kendall Wright is a great possession receiver.
Still have Nate Washington.
They still have Nate Washington, who's a somewhat underrated veteran.
Did they get Delaney Walker? And did he have a good season?
Delaney Walker's an excellent tight end. And
Yeah.
Justin Hunter might do something. Justin Hunter's one of those athletic guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We all own Justin Hunter in our fantasy leagues
now,
for a couple bucks. And we're like, yay, Justin Hunter. Oh, wait, you suck.
All of this is so I think the Titans could actually have a pretty good offense. I'm not sure about their defense.
Well, the Jaguars are horrible.
This is completely dependent on also the Colts.
So if Andrew Luck gets
has to get
injured,
and
yeah.
let me show you the leader in QB knockdowns for 2012, 2013, and 2014.
Wow,
it was Andrew Luck every year. He's led the NFL for the past 3 years.
That's true, but doesn't his neckbeard take most of the impact?
No,
Isn't his neckbeard like a concussion preventer? Isn't it like it doesn't? I mean, he hasn't been hurt.
It could be concussion, but there's all kinds of other injuries, like Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. It could be his collarbone. So Andrew Luck has this weird strategy where when people sack him, he tells them good job and good hit. So I think he's got this weird strategy going where he's like reverse psychology for people who are sacking him.
Mm-hmm, so they like him so much that they don't want to hit him as hard the next time.
But now the issue is that story's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So all these defensive guys can be like, oh shit, Andrew Luck is now blowing up and he's becoming even more famous because he's telling me I'm doing a good job.
So more so than the
it's
QB,
going to come around and bite him in the ass.
So more so than the QB knockdowns, it's the karma of this getting out in the press, angering defensive people to the point where they will want to hurt him, not based on the statistics. Or is it more the statistics?
Both. It's kind of, I just feel like it's a perfect storm.
So basically, it's a perfect storm, and where
the rest of the Colts
where do the
team
Texans
is
fall on
garbage.
this? And where do the Texans fall on this?
I think the Texans defense is going to be awesome this year, and I just think they don't have a quarterback. I don't think Mallett or Hoyer are even like game manager level. They let go of Andre Johnson, so that's like the DeAndre Hopkins plus a rookie show.
So what if J.J. Watt drowns in your cum tub? Then what's going to happen to the Texans?
They're gone. They're fucking toast. Yeah.
All right. So
mine's not the cum tub. Yours is the cum tub.
Yeah, mine's definitely the cum tub. Rex Ryan pretty much comes loaded with cum. All right. Next, we're moving on to our guest portion. Unfortunately, all of our guests canceled for today because they were like, you guys are absolutely insane to be trying to do a podcast, but we know you're going to like us at DickTed. You're going to tweet us at DickTed.
Why are you lying? What's the point of lying? We didn't ask anyone to come on the show today.
Well, because lying is better than the truth. Haven't you listened to Steve Kerr recently? He just was the coach of the NBA winning the Warriors won the championship. I mean, come on. It pays to lie. So, yes, I admit I was lying. We didn't ask anybody. But we're going to do better next time, I promise. So now we go to the You Won't Do It section. This is where each person, Quags and T-Money, will ask the other person a multiple-choice question related to the NFL. If the person gets it correct, nothing happens. If they get it incorrect, they owe a You Won't Do It, which is determined by the person asking the question. If that's too confusing for you, just rewind and listen again. It's really not that confusing. I will start out. Austin,
Yeah.
In 2014, there were third down conversions. And there were 4 teams that were potentially leading the league in third down conversion. I'm going to give you these 4 teams. You tell me which one led in third down conversion. The teams are the Dallas Cowboys, the New Orleans Saints, the New England Patriots, and the Green Bay Packers. One of those teams led the league in third down conversions in 2014. That is for the regular season only. Which team was it? By the way, if you get it wrong, the next podcast you will have to take a double shot of Jägermeister before we begin.
Oh my God, dude! Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. I will buy the Jägermeister, and you will be.
I hate Jägermeister.
What do you? It tastes like cough syrup mixed with grain alcohol. How could you not like it?
Oh my God! All right. The thing is, for me, I really just don't think it's the Saints because their offense was like off kilter last year, even though they are a good offense. And then, oh God, those other 3 teams.
Those other 3 teams are all good.
They're all excellent. You know,
if I'd ask you if it was between the
know.
Jaguars, the Titans, the Bucks, and the Vikings, you would obviously be like, that's a bullshit question.
I know, just because I read Football Outsiders Almanac every year, I know the Patriots are at the top of the stack in that stat year in and year out. So I'm just going to guess the Patriots because I know they're always up there and quite often number 1. So I'm going to say Patriots.
Well, quite often you'll be drinking Jägermeister, apparently. Your first instinct was obviously your worst instinct. It was the New Orleans Saints. So, yes, they missed the playoffs, but they actually led the league in third down conversion last year, which should be proof of just how bad their defense was. I digress. What is your question?
This is which offense had the most points allowed off of turnovers?
Okay.
So it basically means they threw a pick or they fumbled, and the defense was able to recover it for a touchdown. That's pretty much the only way defense can points. I do think
not the offense scoring after they turn the ball over. It had to be on that play.
The defense scores. So I'm pretty sure safeties are actually in here. So, that's probably not that.
It's a de minimis amount. Continue.
So the 4 options are the 4 teams that gave up the most points off of turnovers.
Okay.
Your options are the Falcons, the Jaguars, the Rams, the Saints. And I'd love to hear your logic.
Well, part of this has to do with how many turnovers there are. That's part A. Right. And part B is average field position when the ball was turned over.
Yeah.
And then part C is how many capable tacklers do I think they have between their skill players, their offensive line, and their quarterback. Which I think the combination of those 3 factors. So given, I think the most important factor is going to be number of turnovers, and the second most important factor will be average field position. Given the Falcons, Jaguars, Rams, and Saints, I know between those 4, the Falcons and Saints had better offenses, so they were probably in average field position being better. That's just a guess. In terms of number of turnovers, I would also say they also tend to probably be higher because they had more possessions because they were I would say they had more possessions. Yeah, because the Jaguars and Rams just grinded out a little bit more. You know, we're talking about more ground-based games. Rams are in a tougher division. Jaguars had a rookie quarterback. Falcons and Saints aired out more, probably more possessions, probably more points. So it's a really tough thing to account for. But I'm going to say because the Jaguars were so laughably bad and lost by a lot of lopsided scores, that their defense could not have been that bad because their defense was actually ranked pretty highly considering. So I will say that a decent amount of that came off of offensive turnovers. I also think Blake Bortles threw over 20 interceptions last year. I could be incorrect on that, but I'm going to go Jaguars.
It was the Rams.
Interesting.
Because you talked so long about the Saints-Falcons, I don't know what the hell I was talking about. You failed to even analyze the Rams.
Yes,
who lost their starting quarterback at the beginning of the season and then rotated like a rookie and some journeymen. And when you started going field position, I was like, I'm fucked. He's definitely going to guess Rams because he's going to realize they had basically no offense and we're turning it over on the 25-yard line.
The Jaguars wasn't a bad guess. They had no offense. Okay, you're right. I basically just forgot one option was available. So what's my you won't do it? What do I have to do?
I wish I had thought of the Jägermeister thing, but yeah, you just have to tell a story on the podcast next week of my choice.
A story of your choice.
A story about you or happened to you of my choice.
Okay, can I somehow, like using advanced search engine optimization, make sure that my fiance can't find this podcast?
I will not jeopardize your relationship with your fiance.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. You're a man and a scholar. All right, the last main topic we do every week is our theories. Theories could be about the NFL. They could be about anything else. We will start with Quags here. I think he's going to talk about something to do with advanced statistics.
Oh, we're going to start with me?
Yeah. Theories.
Okay. No, I'll start with you. I like your theory better.
Okay. My basic theory on the NFL is that the NFL has about 5 teams at the top vying for the throne, much like Game of Thrones. We have the Patriots, who are obviously the Lannisters. They are currently on top. They are generally viewed as, I don't know, sinister, evil, manipulating, probably because, I don't know, part of it is true. The Packers are obviously the Starks. They did manage to win back in 2010 with a bunch of guys on IR, but they continue to lose pieces, but they still have Aaron Rodgers, the young star. And I think Aaron Rodgers is basically Arya Stark. He's got a rapier, he's got a lot of talent, and at some point he could come back and destroy everything. Whatever. Sansa Stark, let's not worry too much about her. She's just kind of pretty. Moving on.
Also, I like the idea, like, he was on the bench for a while. Arya Stark was kind of in the background, being trained by that weird water dancer sword guy. Yeah, okay, I like that.
So the Targaryens are obviously, they're on the other side of the Narrow Sea, so they're going to be out west. They have been in power previously, a.k.a. last year. That would be the Seattle Seahawks. Led by Russell Wilson, they're very sexy and very good-looking heroine, just very much like young, like very much like Daenerys Targaryen. And then who's the rest of his team? Well, it's basically a bunch of absolute beasts. Marshawn Lynch and their entire defensive side. That's represented by Daenerys' 3 dragons, because that's about all she has. She has a bunch of fucking dragons who light you up on fire, just like their defense, and then she's super sexy. Moving on, who do I believe the Baratheons are? Stannis with his army, Renly, whatever else. I think that is basically a team divided. I'm going to go with the Colts. The Colts are on the precipice. So here's the deal. They had Peyton Manning. That was Renly Baratheon. He was basically killed or moved to a different team. Kind of like killed. I mean, come on. Peyton's basically dead. He can't throw the ball anymore. And then you have Stannis Baratheon.
Been gored in the thigh.
And then you have Stannis Baratheon, who's basically Andrew Luck. Now, spoiler alert. I made this entire theory before Stannis burned his own daughter at the stake. And then at some point I was thinking he was a good person. But much like Andrew Luck, he also has a neck beard. And so I'm going to go with that. It's a little bit of a stretch, but hey, come on, this is just a theory. Lastly, we have the Tyrells. They just have a shit ton of money, and they have kind of a slightly ridiculous head guy who's just kind of traipsing around. That's obviously the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Look, the Cowboys could win it all. They have enough talent. They have enough money. But do we really take them seriously? Do we really take the Tyrells seriously? Not so at all. Basically, the NFL is Game of Thrones. Do I think one of those teams will win it next year? Between the Seahawks, the Packers, the Colts, the Patriots, and the Cowboys? Yeah, I think it's pretty freaking likely. But who knows? Just like in Game of Thrones, maybe somebody who's conspiring in the distance like Littlefinger, like the Baltimore Ravens with all their drafting, come out of nowhere and win. Or maybe it's the Falcons. But then again, I'd just be jerking myself off. All right, what's your crazy theory?
My theory is, and we've talked about this, but basically I think that NFL players are getting to the point based on excellent training, and also, like, they're most likely all using HGH and other, like, weird supplements, that a lot of these guys are developing their muscles to be too strong and fast for their own bodies to handle. And one way to think about this is Bill Barnwell, who's now at Grantland, but when he was at Football Outsiders, he came up with a speed score stat that basically says, if you're bigger and you run a 4.540, that's more impressive than a little guy running a 4.540. I mean, he's got to move much more weight. It took a lot more effort. And the other thing too is it's a lot harder.
It's momentum, right?
Well, it's a lot harder to tackle a guy who is, 20 pounds heavier moving fast than a little lighter guy. And so one part of it though is if you're that big, if you're basically like 220 and can run a 4.440. I just don't think that your tendons and bones can handle the types of strains that are being put on you. And the second thing is, to be tackled, a lot more force is then exerted on you to get you down to the ground.
Equal but opposite reaction with momentum. Your momentum plus their momentum. Two characters have their respective masses, their respective speeds. They hit one another.
And then they throw pins at their co-host.
It's not a pen, it's an e-cigarette. Don't make fun of me. I'm quitting smoking.
Drugs at their co-host.
/ continuing smoking.
Oh, you burned a hole in the chair, dude.
No, that was already there. No. That was when I was really smoking.
Yeah, it's partially it's like they could injure themselves just because their bodies can't take it, or the fact that they're just getting hit a lot.
So a guy like Kevin White, who's a big, tall, strong, fast, super fast receiver, you think he's a higher injury risk than, say, Amari Cooper?
Well, exactly. But you need to find these size speed freaks. Like at the tight end, it's like Jimmy Graham and Julius Thomas. They're really fast and they're big, and they're always struggling with injuries. But Julius Thomas basically injured all last year.
So
at the running back, you got Roy Halo, DeMarco Murray, and Ben Tate just picked out as guys who were like tops of their class in speed score and always like injured all the time.
Well, I'm sure that will make the Eagles feel a lot better about their offseason. Oh, but by the way, let's not forget, they did get Sam Bradford, who is known to be super injury-free.
Whatever. Chip Kelly's got a shake for Sam Bradford.
Yeah, because he's white, of course. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, DeMarco Murray is obviously just a white version of a black running back, so that's why I picked him up as well. The last thing we do is at the end of every podcast, we're going to do shots. You can tweet us and let us know which shot you think is better, and we'll convert that into more Jägermeister for Austin. Basically, we're just trying to provide you some social currency so you're more interesting at the party. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the NFL because at some point, men, you are going to have to talk to women, or if you're so inclined to gay men, and I'm just going to go out on a limb and say most gay men and women are not that interested in the NFL. So you've spent your time talking to your boring buddy in the corner who only knows about the NFL. Now it's time for you to talk about something more interesting. I will start out. My parting shot is that this autumn in Sweden, they will open the first center specifically geared towards treating male rape victims. So, as Austin brought up earlier in the show, it is possible when you're fucking someone in the ass to claim rape and to go...
Is this males raping males, though?
It could be males raping males. It could be males who are raped by females. As we all know, in Sweden, women control everything. Because it's a Scandinavian country.
I would let them control me.
Very liberal. Yeah, well, you'd be the guy there getting raped and not complaining. But you'd probably go in with a free coffee. All right, what's your parting shot?
They find that you're 60% more creative if you are walking than if you are sitting.
60%?
Yeah.
And how do they quantify that?
They use a number of different fields, and they basically ask people to think about problems they're working on and then quantify it. So 60% was probably something like 60% more likely to solve your problem.
So this is basically kind of going off the thing that like exercise is good for your brain. So like when you're in motion, there's more blood moving, more synapses firing. Yeah. You're quicker thinking. Okay.
Part of it, but I think it actually goes. Like I think it sort of ties. It's another data point for me in the Born to Run theory.
Yeah.
That we like when humans at the time we evolved to be sort of conscious like beings, we were running our prey down
and figuring out a way to kill it
and moving a lot to pursue water or moving for weather reasons or whatever. We were just always on the move.
Well, I guess
so. We evolved to think best while moving because it's not like we evolved that way. What happened was natural selection meant people who thought well while they were running survived, and people who couldn't think very well while they were running died off.
I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty good theory. Unfortunately, as we see the human population spike ridiculously, we see a lot of stupid people live. And I'm just basically thinking of the fact that the normal guy walking down the street, if he's thinking too hard while he's walking, he's liable to just run into a telephone pole. Or probably just run out into traffic, and then that kills smart people like you and me who are driving around. Thank you for listening to the first edition of Dick Ted. Again, tweet us at Dick Ted. Let us know which parting shot you thought was better, or give us another suggestion for a You Won't Do It. I know Austin's looking to get out of the Jägermeister penalty. We'll see you guys again in a week. Thank you so much. Peace out.